Hey, how the fuck are you? It's me, Foxton, doing review for my favorite nigga Dan and his Trail of Vengeance. In this episode, Dan versus the dentist. The episode starts off with Chris going to Dan's house, talking about it's Elise's birthday. Yeah, that's it, it's her birthday. And he's trying to figure out what to get her. Dan doesn't have a clue, so he just talks about his teddy bear or something he got. And Chris looks at it, he said, I want teddy bear because he over there because Dan owes him like $20, but Dan won't pay up. So Dan ends up fighting Chris ends up fighting with him for his teddy bear he got from the dentist last time he was there. And last time he was at the dentist when he was 5. So the little bear thing, it broke Dan's tooth, and when that happened, he had to go to the dentist. But the whole plot, it took like a good 5 minutes because they were just dicking around, doing things, trying to avoid going to the dentist. At a certain point, Dan ended up trying to get a Lego piece, the super glue it to his teeth. But before that, he wanted to get a hot glue gun and hot glue his tooth back into his mouth. And amazingly enough, he didn't have cavities or bad teeth. Because when he went there, when he eventually got to the dentist's office, because he goes to a child dentist, but he hasn't been there in like 20 years. That's the last time he's been to a dentist, I assume. And he gets there and it's just children all around there and all that crazy shit, man. Chris comments on why a children's dentist. He said this is the only place I know, and this is the only place that'll accept him. And then a grown woman comes out of nowhere, she's in her 20s, she look fine, saying Danny. He said, "Don't call me Danny, I'm Dan. I'm a grown man with grown man needs," telling that to her face. And Chris saying, "Ooh, she's a keeper. You should probably hit that." He didn't say exactly like that, but that was the basic gist of it. So Dan goes into the dental office, and he starts screaming, and he's scaring the kids outside the office. They crying, say, "Mommy, I don't want to go there, Mommy." Oh my god. And so they end up knocking him out because, the nurses get him in a chokehold. They trying to restrain him, and all this. And when they did that, they fixed his teeth, but he came back with another problem, and what do you mean? You're they think Dan don't take care of his teeth. He take care of his teeth apparently really well because he had another thing. So he breaks. So to get down to the bottom of this, he gets Chris. He goes back to the dental office, and he breaks in by vandalizing the dental office. He breaks all the windows, and then he uses the crowbar he used to break the windows to pry the door open instead of crawling through, start smashing the office, and then find his dental records with an ancient code on there, and at least got a supercomputer so they was able to translate it when they got back. And when that happened, oh my god, they said, oh my gosh, Dan's right. Every time a person goes to his office, they always end up having some kind of cavity or something to keep coming back. And that was the dentist's plan. It was to keep fucking up little children's teeth so he can make a profit off them and everything. So Dan ends up coming there to his office, and the whole thing was Dan said we're gonna drill a hole in his face. So he got a drill, and he got Chris there ready to pin him down so he can drill his face. They plan to kill this man. So they go there, and the man, the dentist sees them, he runs. He runs for his life. And then he goes into the janitor's closet. Dan is tough as shit. He kicked down the janitor's door with one kick while it was locked. And then they looking for him. He disappeared in the janitor's office. He switched the flip, and then they found a secret exit. And then dude got a speed racer car in the driveway, and he ends up driving all the way out into the desert. And of course Dan and Chris follow him, and he has he has a secret layer because he's actually a supervillain who's a dentist, and they find a big, I want to say hill or side of a mountain that's shaped as a molar, and they end up going there fighting robots, breaking into his molar layer and duking it out. And it's so funny. Like, he explains his plan was to keep kids coming back, and then eventually he'll control everyone he does his dentisting on with the stuff he puts in their teeth. And he actually puts something in Dan's teeth to keep him in excruciating pain. So what Dan does to this man, and I say it's perfect, he gets his teddy bear he had for 20 plus years, throws it at him, it breaks his teeth, all 20 of his teeth in the front. And then Dan proceeds to go to the self-destruct button, blow his layer up, and then his layer crumbles underneath of him. And then, Dan leaves and, like, he's satisfied. He don't care. He could have died. He could have not have died. And he drags. Oh yeah, here's another thing that proved Dan's strong as shit. What the base had 20 seconds to explode. He dragged Chris's body out of that layer within 15 seconds because it took them 5 seconds. And Dan grabbed his feet, and then they had like extra 3 seconds, and Dan got him out there dragging him by his feet. Dan is tough, without a question. And yeah, and they drive off into the sunset, and Chris is back with his wife, Elise, and they watch some romantic comedy. And oh yeah, and it cuts back to the dentist supervillain crawling out of his crumbled lair with his broken teeth, screaming Dan. And then that's how the episode ends. It's a pretty fucking funny episode. Considering, like, he fights a supervillain and all that crazy shit. Now, if you want more, like and subscribe and leave a comment below. And follow me on Twitch and in Twitter. I'll leave the information in the description below. So make sure you follow me, all that good snazzy shit. Peace. Have a good one. Another video will be